We want to take you back now to a defining moment for Canada and the world, the D-Day invasion, seen as the beginning of the end of the Second World War. Sadly, it meant the end of thousands of lives, too. And for all those fallen soldiers, there are countless people around them whose lives were also changed forever. Tonight, David Common tells us about the story of Bob and Sheila.
Sheila Whitten's story is one of love and war, unlikely highs and tragic lows. This is before you'd left Canada.
Oh, yes. I didn't leave Canada until March 44.
But this is one of the signal lights, I presume.
Yes.
As a coder for Canada's Navy, the Second World War interrupted Sheila's Toronto upbringing and the courtship between her and sweetheart Bob Fleming.
I didn't think it was fair to tie him down and vice versa until we were really sure. So I was really looking for after the war.
When Bob joined the Army, Sheila toiled away for the Navy, her work captured by magazines of the day. Then came the call. Sheila's skills were needed at the Canadian headquarters in London. Bob was already in England, readying for what would become D-Day.
I got a message to him through a friend, and he was able to get up to London and proposed at breakfast, and the next sentence he said, "Now, we've got to be married right away." And I said, "There is no way the Navy is going to give me permission to be married when I have just arrived."
Though not immediate, permission did come. Sheila still has the paperwork. There was a lot of it. Traveling was tightly restricted, especially as D-Day approached.
It was a small miracle, and then everything came together and worked out beautifully. Yeah. So that was taken in a little country church in Chilworth.
This is May 11th, 1944.
May the 11th, yes.
And in that wedding party, another soldier, Bob's brother, Jock.
There she is, my God.
At 94, he is still a part of Sheila's life and remembers the wedding in 1944, the bright distraction from that big, looming operation.
You never discussed when D-Day was going to be or anything like that. And the people who were involved in going on D-Day never discussed it. So it was just a no-no as far as conversation was concerned.
After the wedding, during a brief honeymoon, the two brothers shared a drink together before both had to return for what would be the big battle to come.
And I remember telling him, "No, I'll see you. I'll be back to see you in a week or two," or something like this. And his reply was, "We don't expect to come back." Yeah, like he did.
Bob landed on Juno Beach on D-Day and survived the initial assault, even writing a letter to Sheila. She still has it.
"Darling, I am in excellent health and working hard. Things have been immensely interesting the last few weeks, and of course in the last 4 days. This is the first time I've had a chance to drop you a line and to sit and dream of leave. Wonderful, optimistic, premature planning, but oh, such a happy thought." June the 18th, I got a message saying that he was missing. And that was all it said, just missing, and there would be further communication.
That next communication would not be good, beginning with the words, "regret to inform."
You freeze. You absolutely freeze. You don't believe what you're reading. I had to have somebody else read the telegram to me because I couldn't believe what I was reading. And so the first thing I did was to phone his brother, Jock.
My parents in Toronto got a similar telegram at the same time as she got the telegram.
Bob survived 5 days of the fierce campaign. He was killed June 11th, 1 month exactly after his wedding. His new bride never saw him after their brief honeymoon. With victory in Europe months later, Sheila wanted closure, and she went to the military with another unlikely request.
This was for permission for traveling on the railway.
Sheila was off to Normandy, to Juno Beach, to the Canadian cemetery at Beny-sur-Mer. In those days, it was unprecedented for a woman to make that journey. Sheila is believed to be the very first to visit the war cemetery.
It was just a wide open field where there was nothing around it. That day, it was very quiet. There wasn't another soul there except myself. And I had an hour or two of just sitting there very quietly and very peacefully and trying to pull myself together as to what I was going to do.
Bob's grave was among the very first in a cemetery that now holds hundreds.
You and I are the only people.
We're the survivors.
Sheila will return to that same cemetery this year. Bob's brother Jock, too frail to make the journey anymore. Dementia tearing away at some memories, while others remain vivid.
Yeah, there were bad days, very bad days. And I wasn't the only one going through that. There were all kinds of other people being told the same news.
Like many of us, he believed this was a battle that had to be fought. D-Day had to happen. There was no other way of ending the war. He and others were willing to make that their job. And I think that's one of the solaces that I have, is that what he did was because he wanted to, because he felt it was right.
7 decades on, and Sheila is on her way back once more to see all those graves of all those men, her husband of just 1 month among them. David Coleman, CBC News, Collingwood, Ontario.